Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into this Terrifier tea. My first time ever being exposed to Art the Clown was sometime in 2018 or 19, and I still lived at home. I was laying in my bed in my bedroom. It was like, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., pitch black, right? And I'm scrolling on the Netflix app on my phone when I see the cover art for Terrifier, which is just Art the Clown's fucking sadistic, evil looking smile. And it was a cover I had scrolled past before because it gave me the feeling of something small, indie, and like potentially traumatizing. That cover, it just by itself did that for me, right? But for some reason on this night, I was feeling brave and I was like, you know what? This pitch black in the middle of the night alone vibe, is doing something for me. Let me go ahead and pop on Terrifier. And okay, I don't know if it was maybe because where I was and how vulnerable I felt and how alone and in the dark I was. I don't know. But the first Terrifier actually did scare me and actually made me like close my eyes many times. And it just felt very mean spirited, very cruel, very cold, very bleak. And the whole vibe of the movie felt that way. And the way that it didn't have much going on as far as plot or anything added to that. It was such a empty, hopeless experience. And it was really just showcasing Art the Clown's behavior and mannerisms, his look. And it really did it well. And it established him as a very striking figure in my mind as a clown that actually scared me, because most clowns don't actually scare me just based on appearance. But Art the Clown's appearance, his presence, his energy, how it can be so dementedly playful and at the same time brutally cruel was so striking and different. And I was like, wow, even though I never want to see this again, that left a mark in my head, So it left such a mark with me that it made me go back and look at Art the Clown's history and his creator, Damien Leone. And I just went down this rabbit hole, right? That led me to All Hallows Eve, which was actually a compilation of Damien Leone's first two short films with art in them. He combined them as segments on a VHS tape that the protagonist in All Hallows Eve watches. So it's 3 stories in All Hallows Eve. 2 of them are just VHS tape segments, and the third story is her, and of course she's not safe from Art the Clown and his rampage. But anyway, that first All Hallows Eve, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It still had art feeling as like this creation from a dark underground grimy like source. Like it still had that and it felt that way, and he was just played way less comically than he was played in Terrifier 2 and 3, more specifically 3 though. So that sort of lended to the extra fear factor. So that was that. I went back and saw it. I thought, wow, okay, cool. It's this small creator. He's got this awesome horror villain. This was good. We'll see what happens, if anything at all. I didn't really think about it. I was pleasantly surprised when I found out Terrifier 2 was happening and it was going to get a wide theater release for a small budget, indie movie, a decent theater release. So I was like, wow, okay. But I didn't think, this might end up being like something, But suddenly, Terrifier 2 comes out. Here was this small extreme horror movie opening in only so many theaters nationwide, generating that buzz from the cult fan base and word of mouth, attracting curious new audience members as well. So basically, Damien was suddenly sitting on a very profitable, buzzworthy IP, with talk of Art the Clown becoming one of the next great icons of horror and enthusiasm for the third movie at an all-time high. With that being said, time for a little bit of honesty from me. Terrifier 2 and 3 were a step up in budget and production for the series, and it showed in the bigger cast, the more settings, and of course what we all paid to see, the practical effects for all the kills. This, if you just care about getting your art fix, getting your extreme violence fix, might just be fun and engaging enough to get by for some spooky time fun. But where Terrifier 2 and 3 begin to lose me is that it seems like in their quest to amp up everything and expand the vision of the artverse, I fear we are also diluting the qualities and the vision of what initially made Art the Clown so compelling and scary in the first place. You know, like with Scream and its many sequels, it feels like the focus with these slasher movies starts to stray away from the initial vision and tone. The lore and the increasingly convoluted story and this grand vision that I think these creators feel driven to give in their quest for, you know, bigger and more, sometimes just does a disservice to the original spice that made them stand out in the first place. The best thing in those movies, when done well, and what we really want to see, is the hunt, the chase, the different settings and how we play in them, the drama of the kills, the choices that these characters make in the heat of the moment, and the characters within them themselves adding to the stakes. Terrifier 2 and 3 doesn't have that same energy. People come and go aplenty. Brutal kills are constantly shown, sometimes in a mall, sometimes in a Spirit Halloween type store, sometimes in various residential homes, entire families or groups of people falling victim, and there's hardly any heaviness or narrative consequence. No reason to be invested other than those brief couple moments of time that we're watching Art the Clown bisect someone from their private areas all the way to the tip of their head. Am I asking too much of my horror films here? Am I asking too much of my B movies? I don't know, maybe. But all I'm saying is that if we trimmed some of the fat, we could still keep innovating and growing the story in a way that helps service both Art and his rival Sienna. Both Terrifier 2 and 3 are over 2 hours long, and a lot of that time is spent trying to flesh out and develop a worthy rival for Art in Sienna Shaw, her backstory and all the people in her life, the nature of her existence in relation to Art, and finally also Art the Clown's own backstory and mechanics. As it stands, the growing of the franchise is stretching my ability to suspend my disbelief and breaks immersion when I find myself uninterested in the one person who has the ability to put up a fight against Art. Something that in both Terrifier 2 and 3 ends up essentially being a one step forward, one step back kind of thing. Sienna acquires the blade of justice and fire at the end of the second movie, the only thing that can truly harm Art, mind you. And all throughout the third movie, it is never in play, not till literally the last 10 minutes, and barely even there. And then Sienna's character for the entire third film is really not evolving into a worthy rival for Art. She is just focused on repressing her trauma and trying to force herself into being perceived as normal and sane by those around her. We then see that she has the ability to heal herself, maybe granted to her by the blade which cut her hands as she was trying to save her annoying little cousin Gabby from falling into what I think is hell. But we end the film with her intent on getting both Gabby and the blade back and building up to what? Art's death? Sienna's death? Where is this going? We may or may not get answers, but my point is, do those answers even matter? Is that what I came for? Like I said, Gabby, the little girl, her cousin, was really just annoying in this movie, and I don't know if she's being teetered up to be some sort of like sidekick to Sienna or the next person in line to inherit the blade of fire and justice to delete Art the Clown. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about her. I don't know. I'm interested to see what she does with that blade now that she's like in hell somewhere. I'm interested to see if Jonathan is actually dead or alive. I'm interested to see more Art the Clown and just Art the Clown. I don't care about the little pale girl. I don't care about the Vicky the sidekick. And Art the Clown regenerating his body by eating people is already a nice little peek into more of what makes him him and makes him work. And that was like a nice little nugget we got about him. And that was enough for me. And my issue ultimately is with the way it's delivered, the way it's executed. There are moments within Terrifier 2 and 3 that feel unnecessarily drawn out, character dialogue that feels stilted and predictable, and there's rarely a surprise in the way that Damien shoots something or the way that he writes a scene progression out. Certain scenes come and it feels like another scene was like cut out between them. Jonathan, Sienna's brother, dies off screen. I don't actually think that happened, but I don't know. We'll see in the next movie. Her brother-in-law, I think, dies off screen as well. We skip those scenes, and then we skip Art the Clown, like, going about a college campus a little bit. Like, he goes into a party, but then he ends up just alone within dorms. Like, there's just a weird lack of flow and continuity going on at times with the editing and the pacing. It really makes it to where I wish we didn't have all the extra stuff. They take themselves way too seriously, and all you itch for is that unserious and menacing presence of Art the Clown, to see him on a rampage and follow his actions. And with Terrifier 3, I was definitely way more entertained, having way more of a good time than I had with Terrifier 2. My nitpicks would just be the screenplay stuff, the pacing stuff, and Art the Clown potentially not being played as goofy and silly as he was in the third movie. The saving grace of the gore then becomes the only saving grace that over time you get so desensitized to after everything that the movie is throwing at the wall, that even then that can only do so much. After a while, it doesn't carry the movie enough for me to make the filler time not feel like filler. Now, I'm not mad at more movies coming, and I'm going to be there day one for Terrifier 4, and I still want to see Damien Leone do what he does best. I want to see him hone his craft, and I also want to see him evolve his storytelling. After all, you will still get the primary gift of Art the Clown and the kills that come with him, but the rest of the components of the gift package matter as well, because they have the potential to either elevate that gift or not add much to it, or worse, take away from it. I don't know. This movie, it was fine. It was good. It was a good time. I know I sound very negative. It was a good time, but also I was like a little bit of shuffling and restlessness where I'm like, okay, can we move this along? Or, oh, okay, this scene is not working for me, or okay, this delivery is not working for me, or oh wow, an actually exciting interaction between characters that doesn't feel what do you call it? What do you call it when when something is predictable? It's like being foreshadowed so obviously and heavily, when it's being billboarded. What do you call that? Yeah, anyway. I definitely say go watch Terrifier 3. Maybe I'm asking too much, and maybe all this is just I want to see some people die, and I want to have a goofy good time about it. But I think it could be a better time if the movie and the story wasn't boring. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah.